Attention business owners, are you looking to buy your commercial space instead of lease? This allows you to be the landlord, to control your commercial space instead of paying rent to someone else and making them rich. This is a video series to help business owners buy their own commercial space. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about understanding your improvement budget. In previous videos, we've talked about how to find a broker, how to get pre-approved. The last video was about touring. This video is about when you found that property that you think could be it, to make sure you understand what it's going to cost to make it exactly what you need. The first key I will say is when you're estimating what it's going to cost to remodel your commercial building, make sure you are conservative. Oftentimes I have clients that say, oh, we're just going to move this wall and take that wall out and put an office here and put a restroom there and paint this and add flooring here. And yeah, that should probably cost about $10,000. And they make the mistake of thinking that it's going to cost, what they think it should cost, or what, it would cost for them to do it themselves. And the reality is, there are a lot of contractors that are very busy. Depends on your market, but generally speaking, these improvements are always more expensive than you think. So make sure that you are conservative and you're budgeting for more than it should cost rather than less. You don't want to buy a commercial building and find out that, your improvements are going to cost twice as much as you thought they were going to. So once you found that building that at least has the bones, maybe the location that's perfect for what you want, remember those are things you can't really change. The location has to be something you're excited about, and the overall size has to be what works for you and your growth. Everything else within the building, to an extent can be remodeled, it can be changed, but that comes with cost. So obviously, if you can find a building that is very close to what you need, almost on a move-in basis, that is huge. That's great. That's going to save you a lot of money up front. If there are a lot of things that have to be improved, this is where the improvement budget kind of comes together. So firstly, make a list of things that you need to operate and get a budget for that. We've talked about needs versus wants in other videos, but essentially you want to know what number am I going to have to spend if I want to run my business out of this building. So, let's say you have to have a small warehouse component with a roll-up door and this building doesn't have that. There's no way for you to run your business without that roll-up door for storage. Well, then you need to make sure you have a good idea of what that's going to cost. That's a need. That's something that's essential for your business, and you're going to have to do it on day one. The next thing you want to do is make a list of wants and get an idea of what that's going to cost. So, these are things that I think would make your building great and you'd be excited about, and maybe your employees will love, but they're things you don't necessarily have to do on day one. It's still good to know what these things are going to cost, and it'll get you more excited about your building, but you want two numbers. One is things that you absolutely have to operate and continue to make money as a business owner. And number two are things that would just be really cool or you'd be excited about, or could help you, make your employees happy. So two different lists there. Secondly, you want to make sure you talk to a contractor. In a perfect world, maybe you have a friend or someone that you have a good relationship with that you can say, hey, here's a layout. Here are the 3 or 4 things that I have to do in order to make my business operate. Can you give me a rough idea of what this is going to cost? Once again, you want to be conservative. A lot of contractors won't necessarily give you a detailed bid unless you have very detailed plans and tell them exactly what they need. Understandably, they don't want to give you a number, based on not a lot of information, and then have you kind of hold them to that number later. So that's why it's great to have a contractor that you have a good relationship with, that they know, they can be comfortable giving you some ballparks on. But you want a budget just because it's going to allow you to know how much money to put aside after you close to make this building fit what you want to do. Another reason you want to talk to a contractor is they can give you an estimated timeline of what that's going to take. Sometimes people will buy commercial buildings and they think about the escrow and they think about how they're going to move in right after they close, but they fail to think about how long it's going to take to do their remodel. If permits are required or if there's any significant work, that could be 3 to 6 months, and you want to make sure that you know that timeline before you close and you can make other arrangements. For example, let's say you have 3 months left on your lease and it's going to take 2 months to close the commercial transaction and another 3 or 4 to remodel your space the way that you want it, you need to make sure you have somewhere else for your office space, or get an extension, or figure out a way to work within your new building while the remodel's happening. That's not always ideal, but you have to make sure you think about it. Lastly, and this is probably the most important thing, is do you have the funds to do what you need to do after closing? So once again, if you can find a building that is kind of turnkey, everything that you need, that's great. You have a lot less to worry about. But if the building needs significant work, you have to ask yourself, do I have the funds based on a conservative budget from a contractor to remodel this the way that I need to in order to operate? Once again, this gets back to the needs versus the wants. Do you have enough money in the bank to pay for that, to make sure that you can run your business? Now, there's things you can do if for some reason, cash flow is a little tight, a lot of your money went into the down payment, for example. You can get business lines of credit. It's possible to get your remodel included in your loan on some occasions. That can be tricky and a lot of paperwork as well. So there's things to get around it, but you want to make sure that you know what that remodel is going to cost you and you have a way to pay for it, whether that's out of pocket or by getting additional loan. So once again, this is just something to think about before you close on the building. Once again, the building might seem great and you have this beautiful image for what it's going to look like when you've done everything that you want to, but make sure you know what that's going to cost. And that's what this video is about. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you got any value out of this video, please hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Essentially, this is a video series designed to help business owners make informed decisions about their commercial real estate. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Dave with Carlson O'Connell Commercial Real Estate. Contact us anytime if you want to talk about going from becoming a tenant to a landlord. Have a great rest of your day.